What's up, guys? Welcome back to Breakout Trading. It is Wednesday, August 5th, 2020, and I'm going to be doing something different for this video. Usually all my videos are on trading stocks, but this one is going to be sort of a longer term outlook on where I think Bitcoin is heading in the near future. So I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I just have some thoughts that I want to, get out there to the public and maybe help make you guys some money in the coming year or so. So this is a chart of Bitcoin here. We're on the 1 hour, and this isn't really going to tell you much, but what I want you guys to get from this video is the long-term outlook. I think that Bitcoin is about to make a huge move, over 20K, and I think it's going to happen pretty soon here. And I think it's going to be pretty big. I think a lot of other sort of crypto, digital cash coins and technology is going to start emerging. I think it's going to be huge, and I think that all the money printing and the stimulus packages and everything that the government has been printing, the U.S. government, for aiding the coronavirus, I think that that is also going to add some fuel to the fire for this whole new digital money craze that I think is coming in the next year or so, or maybe right now. It feels very close. So anyways, we're going to start from a technical standpoint because that is what I'm best at. I don't really look at fundamentals when it comes to stocks or anything. I only look at technicals. So that is where I'm going to start. So what we're looking at here is a weekly chart of Bitcoin. This was the 20K top here in 2017, and so far we have been downtrending since then. And what I want to point out now here is in the nearest future is that yes, ever since the 20K top, we have been making lower highs on a weekly standpoint. So yes, we are in a long-term downtrend for about over 2.5 years now. So it's no joke, we're in a downtrend. There's no fighting that downtrend. It's been happening for quite a while. The only thing that will get us out of that 2.5 year downtrend is a break above $14,000 and maybe a weekly or daily close. That will really start turning some heads and speeding this whole thing up. And the reason that I think that that's happening soon is because of this formation here. So what this looks like to me is an inverse head and shoulders pattern. It's a little bit messy, but it pretty much gets the job done. So there's a few ways you could look at this. You could look at this as kind of like a double left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. That's one way to look at it. Or you could look at this kind of like this is the head, or this is the shoulder, that's the head, bigger shoulder. There's a few ways you could interpret this, but overall, what it has is it has a very, very, very clear resistance point right here at 10,500. That's exactly where the top of this candle was, 10,500 and change, this candle, and this top here. So we have 3 top touches for resistance, and we have recently just broken through that. So what next thing I want to look at is this formation really reminds me of a stock that I traded today. So we'll go into here, and it was Mara, which is actually, hilariously enough, a Bitcoin crypto kind of stock. So as you can see here, Mara on a 3-minute chart, so this is extremely low time frame. We had a similar pattern here, so we had sort of a resistance level. We had our one shoulder, our head, and our right shoulder, and then we had a breakout with volume confirmation. Volume confirmation is always key. So what you could have actually done is took this measured move from Mara. So if you measure from the very bottom of the head there to the resistance level, you get this distance, and you can actually just take that distance and plot it on top of the breakout level to get a predicted move for the stock or chart or whatever. So as you can see, this one here has a top, and the measured move goes right about to that top, and I want you guys to keep that in mind. So then, so remember this, or you don't even have to remember it. I'll just minimize it. So check this out. So see this pattern. Now that is exactly what we're dealing with right here. This might disappear for a second, but we got our messy left shoulder, our head, our right shoulder, and if you take a measured move here, this brings us up to about $17,000. You can see the similarity now, hopefully. So that was the setup today that I actually entered in a trade, and you know what, my plan to trade this Bitcoin breakout is actually the exact same. So what I did here is, you can see I let it break out without me, and I had a nice limit order sitting right here on the resistance now support level, which in this case was $4.38. And you can see that if I was to do the same thing there, that means you'd want to enter into a trade here on Bitcoin just over 10,500. So about 10,600, 10,700 would be an excellent spot to enter in on a long-term, long position for Bitcoin, with a targeted move up to 17,000 and most likely the all-time high at 20,000. And that would net you a 62% gain if you held all the way up to the target without scaling out, which is what I would recommend you do, scale out. And that would also give you a shot at selling up near the high. So how that stock I traded today worked out was, here's that head and shoulders pattern again, just to make it clear, the line. We hit the measured move. Let's ignore this. I just was saying that because of it didn't have much follow through today. But that has nothing to do with this move. This move was excellent. So you can see it completes the measured move, and it also goes a little bit above this resistance level. And I think that that's something similar that we could see, is that this could go complete the measured move and even go a little bit above the 20K top. I'm just going to close this, kind of just remember what this looks like. Pretend this is the 20K top and how we just pump above. We have that really nice obvious retest and then the continuation up. I think an obvious retest of this 2,000 or 10,500 level will be crucial. And I think that what we could do is see something like this, where we come up right over there and then we see a correction. Obviously there'll be bumps along the way, but overall I think it's a pretty clear shot up to 20K at this point. And the confirmation, more confirmation, would be if we get over 14K. Excuse me, because that would be the first weekly higher high in over 2.5 years, which would be very significant. So I'll just delete these for now. I'll keep this up there just for kind of a target. So I actually made this this little Word document here, and I just was thinking just quickly all the pros and cons to this sort of trade or this setup. So I'll start with the technicals. So let's actually put this over here. So the first con is weekly lower highs, which I already went over at the start of this video. And the pros now are Bitcoin has been in a macro uptrend from its inception. So literally since the day this thing was created, it's been on an uptrend. So, you know, you always want to trade with the trend. We have a weekly higher low, which is actually really significant. So you can see that we had this low put in just the start of 2019, and just here we put in a higher low. I'll call that the coronavirus crash, when the whole market tanked, took Bitcoin down with it. We put in a higher low, so that's significant. The only thing we need now is a higher high on the weekly to confirm a major macro uptrend. The 20K downtrend line has been broken. Now this one's pretty significant too. If you look here, just draw a simple trend line from the top at 20K to this high here in a year ago. We'll do right to the wick. You can see that we have clearly poked our heads above this downtrend line, which is very significant, I would say, with a nice increase in volume. Nothing crazy, but an increase in volume to confirm the little breakout. Now this is at an infantile stage in its development, this whole move. That's why I'm making this video, because I think that this might be the point of maximum financial opportunity. Another maximum point would be over 14K. That would be a bit more conservative because it finally has made a higher high. And then what you could do is play this range with having a stop loss down here. Right now, there's not really a great place to have a stop loss for my 10.5K entry, which I will be taking if we get a obvious pullback to that level. My issue is that there's not really like an obvious place to put a stop loss. Obviously, when we're above 14,000, the obvious place will be below 10,500. But when it comes down here, I'm just going to have to kind of estimate it. Maybe here below 8,800, but I'd like to have it a bit tighter than that. But anyways, we have broken the 20K downtrend line, which is huge. Absolutely massive, in my opinion. We went over the weekly inverse head and shoulders. Now this monthly close that we just closed in July is actually the second highest monthly close for Bitcoin of all time. The first one was right here in December of 2017, where we closed a monthly candle at 14,000. And now the second one has been right here, where we closed a monthly candle at 11,400. I got that information from Steve Courtney at Crypto Crew University. He's the one that told me that right there, and he's damn right that that is the second highest monthly close Bitcoin has ever had of all time. I think that that's pretty damn significant. Oh crap, I was on the wrong screen. Whoopsies. So right here is what it was. The first close was 2017 up there. The second highest monthly close of all time has been just recently right here at 11,300. So that is very significant. Yeah, it's a very obvious breakout of this consolidation range when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture. It's a very obvious poking its head up above this 10,500 level. This level needs to hold. It needs to hold. And also, so highest ever monthly close ever. This is all technicals, pros on the technical. Next, I'm going to go into fundamentals on Bitcoin that I'm just going to zip through those. I'm not going to go into any details, just from things that I know. And the weekly RSI is in bull market territory. So what that means is if we have a weekly chart up of Bitcoin and you actually bring up the RSI, so this is the RSI here. If I zoom out to the all-time Bitcoin chart, this is a very significant level. Try to make this easy to see. So if you can kind of look at the price here, every time the weekly RSI was above this green line, levels about 57, we were in a major bull run, and every time the RSI dipped below this green level, it was a correction. So just kind of look at where on the price chart the candles are when it's above this green level. Dipped below for a second there, but we're still in an uptrend. And then right here, Bitcoin entered its first major bear market in 2014. You can see we crossed below this green line. It became resistance, and we were below it for the entirety of that until we poked our heads above it right here, and that coincides with this price right here. So we were in that bear market for about 637 days, and then you can see that the whole time we were in the major 2017 bull run, the weekly RSI was above this 57 level, bouncing off it until we finally crossed below it here on late January 2018. So if we crossed it there, we poked our heads above it last summer, down, and now we are poking our heads above it again, very significantly. So if the last bear market in 2014 was, what was that, 637 days, let's say we have a new one here. It's a bit longer, 900, almost 1,000 days in correction, and we're finally breaking out. So this is going to be pretty significant. It's going to last a couple years, I'm thinking, I'm hoping, depending on how everything plays out. But what we're looking at here is a pretty big opportunity for the entire, not only Bitcoin. I don't think it's just going to be Bitcoin. I think there's going to be a whole surge in some new technology that is related to the digital currency realm that we're coming up on. Yeah, so the weekly R size and bull market territory. So now some fundamentals. Cons. So Bitcoin was created in 2009. It's kind of like old technology now if you think about it. 2009 was a long time ago, and there's been a lot of advances since then. So yeah, that's kind of like a concern that, you know, it could get outperformed by something else, maybe Ethereum, or maybe something even brand new will pop up and rip super hard. But no matter what, it's still the king, and by that I mean it's the market leader. So it's going to move the slowest out of all the altcoins, but if Bitcoin sets the way, it's like a big cruise ship, like a huge heavy-duty tanker. Once it gets momentum going, all the little speedboats will come up and zip around it, but as long as it's paving the way, there'll be a bunch of other stuff to trade that follows. Another con on the fundamental side of Bitcoin is it's not universally accepted as being legitimate. So people outside of sort of the crypto community can consider it being a scam or like a hack or just a, you know, I don't know, some sort of internet scam. And an example of that was that recent Twitter hack that happened where all those famous people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all their Twitters got hacked, and the people were just asking for Bitcoin. So when someone from the outside sees that, it doesn't really seem that appealing. You cannot use it in everyday life. It's not formally recognized, and people want to have money they can use. So you can't just buy your groceries from your local grocery store with Bitcoin. You can't really buy cigarettes at the gas station or gas or much of anything with it right now. So that's a huge con for mass adoption. Another con, but also could be a pro, is that it only exists in digital form. A lot of people who aren't tech savvy or whatever won't really know how to use it. A lot of people like cash because it's physical, you can hold it in your hand. So maybe if there's some sort of device that makes it very physical and easy to just hand off to people, that would be huge. Another con is you can actually lose your coins forever if you, and I know there's spelling mistakes on this, but it doesn't autocorrect, and I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. That it's just a point to get across. It doesn't matter if it's spelled right to me. I could obviously go through this and, you know, edit it up, but I just whip this up, and it's, like I said, it's the thoughts that matter to me, not the spelling. Obviously forever spelled wrong there, but I don't care. You can actually, if you lose your private key or you send your coins to the wrong address, or you send a Bitcoin to a Bitcoin Cash address, you can actually lose your coins forever, and that fucking sucks. So like, people are really not gonna like that if there's a possibility of you being able to lose something that you own that's valuable to you forever, just like that. If you make one wrong transaction, there needs to be a way to reverse transactions. So it needs to have some sort of physical form, like cash. You need to be able to reverse the transaction somehow, or there needs to be a way where there's no way you can lose your coins forever, because right now that doesn't exist. You can lose your coins forever currently. And Bitcoin itself has a very slow transaction rate. A new block is mined every 10 minutes, and that is extremely slow compared to like how many transactions Visa can do or something. Bitcoin has the Lightning Network, but I don't really know. I haven't really been following along with it, and I think that a new coin could come around that has a much larger transaction rate that would gain more popularity for mass adoption. Some pros are it's virtually unhackable. These are fundamental pros. Via SHA-256, it's a good hedge against the inflation of monetary or like of fiat currency. So a good example is like how much money the US has been printing recently with this whole coronavirus thing. It's a really good way to hedge against that. Being a deflationary currency, there's only 21 million coins that have ever existed and will ever exist. And yeah, there's a set amount. So it's kind of like if you're watching this and you trade stocks, there's only 21 million float, and there'll never be more float than that ever. So as much as the price increases, the quantity will always stay the same. and it will actually go down because people lose coins, as said here, and that just lessens the supply. So there's probably actually only a circulating supply of about 18 million. It only exists in digital form, which is pretty cool. That can be pro or a con. Its hash rate is at an all-time high, and new addresses continue to climb. So if you actually look at this chart here, or this website, you can go here. Let's go to network activity. So you can see the unique addresses being used for an all-time chart continue to climb, as well as total hash rate is at pretty much an all-time high. So that's like the security of the Bitcoin network is pretty much just at an all-time high. So that's significant too. So overall, I think that this is a pretty big opportunity, and I guess my plan in the very short term is, so this is an hourly chart, this is a daily, this is a weekly. So if we're looking at the daily right here, we're kind of just consolidating around 11,000, pushing up now, but I think that right now it just needs to cool off a little bit more on the daily. So I'm watching the RSI here and the stochastics RSI. We can see we're losing momentum at the current moment. But my plan for sure is if we get a pullback towards this region here, 10,000. We did actually get like a flash crash down here on this day here, but I want a more obvious pullback to get long. Unfortunately didn't have a limit order here. That would have been nice to get filled right there, but I think that a consolidation for a few days in this range would be super bullish, and it would allow longs to build some positions, and I want to see a nice test of this high here and this high too. In this range right here is where I'm going to be entering my long position, and when the price gets down there, I'll make another video on how I plan to enter into the position, and if it all works out, I'll basically, just be making videos about Bitcoin till I'm a millionaire. So that's the plan. This is a significant breakout, and I would pay attention to it. Yeah, so that's enough of me rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this gave you some good information. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I will continue to make videos seeing this through. Adios.